I want to kind of go with that story a little bit and say, long distance relationships, in your professional opinion, do they last?
One thing I'd like to say before I answer that is because you actually said that this, let's say, not technically a couple that's in a relationship, have already said, I love you. They've already, grown to like one another.
Mhm.
That's where it gets a little complicated because I think that when you say the word, I love you, that means something very serious to most people. However, I feel that when you do say those words, if you haven't had the tough conversations, then you really do need to have a tough conversation, meaning like, what does that actually mean? Because maybe I say once someone says, I love you, maybe then I feel that, yes, we are in a relationship, but that's still an assumption if we have not spoken about it. The other person may feel like, I love you doesn't necessarily mean we're in a relationship, but this is how I feel towards you. And they may define it completely different. So I think also, too, is realizing that in a relationship, you may define things differently. So that's why it's so important to be very clear in how you're defining certain situations or even certain words, in the way that we communicate. So I just wanted to throw that in there
Yeah.
as well. So, okay, you asked me about long distance relationships. Do they work?
Yeah.
I think they can work. Again, I'm going to go back to the boundaries.
Mhm.
I think that if in the beginning you have the conversation of how long are we going to be in this long distance relationship before someone is going to have to move or both parties are going to have to move? What does that look like? Maybe one person in the relationship, maybe they can't move because of their career, or it could be maybe they have parents that are older and they just cannot move because they're the only person that the family maybe has to count on. So it could be a lot of different variables on what's going to determine who's going to move. But I think that if you have those conversations, you will know early on if some things are just a non negotiable. And so, therefore, you don't spend years in this relationship that is really not going to maybe result in being what maybe you would have expected in the beginning. So I think they can work, but I don't think that they can work for long periods of time where you really don't have a direction in what decisions are going to be made to where you guys are in the same space and you're dating in the same state, which I think is very different. Dating in the same state and dating in different states or even different countries is very different than dating someone that's right there in the same state that you're in.